Hello. Hello, and a happy Sunday to you all. Oh my goodness, my hair is doing a number. How is everybody? Something tells me you're all in a good mood. Anyway, how is everyone? Just getting my cards organized. Did everybody have a good weekend? Is everybody enjoying reading the emails? You can download them. You can download all the emails. You can read everything. Yes. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about the emails and we're going to talk about Virginia Giuffre today. And we're going to talk about survivors and what trafficked people sometimes have to do just to stay alive. And it's really sad to see what the Republican Party has become under Donald Trump. If you could share, like, and subscribe, that would be awesome as we slowly go to 100,000 subscribers. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. Yes, you can download them. I went to Grok and Grok gave me the download key, but and then there's AI that's analyzing it. But the main thing, my hair's a bit messy today. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh my, oh my, oh my. The main thing to take away from Virginia Giuffre is that survivors lie. That survivors lie in order to stay alive. They lie to stay safe. They make up stories to stay safe. And one of the things that happens when a victim is groomed is that they're taught to deny that the abuse is happening. This is one of the first and most common lies that victims of sexual abuse engage in, is that they will retract their testimony, often for fear of their safety or the safety of those they love and care about. And certainly when you have somebody, am I echoing? Because I can hear myself. Hold on. Um, yeah, so I know somebody this happened to, right? She was told that when she was in high school that if she reported anything, they did a class presentation on abuse, and then they told all the high school students, tell us what if they write a letter to us about your experiences, and if something is happening to us, let us know and nothing will happen. So she told that her stepfather had been molesting her. She was 15 years old. And the police showed up and the school got involved, the authorities got involved, and it created all kinds of problems. And she retracted her testimony. So I asked her about it. How did you feel about lying to the authorities and saying, oh, I made that up? That didn't happen. And she said, well, my mother is in hell because she's stuck married to this guy. So she kind of made it out like, oh, well. But in order to save the family, because her mother was begging and pleading to retract or he was going to go to prison, right? So then the family puts pressure on you or makes it out like you're a horrible child to make up such terrible stories about so and so. So you can only imagine how much pressure was placed um, on Virginia Giuffre to say that nothing had happened between her and Donald Trump. Because she wanted to live. She didn't want to die, right? And same thing happened to Katie Johnson, the other woman who came forward saying that she had been abused by Donald Trump. Katie Johnson, raped at 12 by allegedly by Donald Trump. She disappeared, right? Retracted her testimony, ran from the lawyer, never to be seen again. We don't know if she's alive or dead. Even Epstein himself, according to Wolf, was terrified that he had gone too far. And Epstein was afraid of Donald Trump. He was afraid of the people protecting Donald Trump. So then you have to ask yourself, who was protecting Donald Trump? Different New York mafia that had financial interest with Trump. And so if Trump went down, they would have financially gone down. So what it looks like from a remote viewer's perspective, and I am a remote viewer, is it looked like there were multiple people who owned Trump, owned data on Trump, and it was to their vested interest that they use him for various purposes. A lot of people were called Bubba. You know, yeah, Clinton was called Bubba, but so was Roger Stone. Right? Wasn't Roger Stone a bit of a Bubba? Or it could just be a joke. It could just be a joke that, oh, what would be the ultimate tape if both of them were caught in a compromising position, Clinton and Trump? Wouldn't that be a hell of a tape? So it could have just been a joke. And it doesn't seem to, according to I checked with AI, it doesn't appear to be part of the trove of emails that was released, but supposedly an email from Mark Epstein and him, which supposedly cannot be verified. So we don't know. I have a couple quick announcements to make for those of you who are part of our Book of the Month Club. For the book of November, for the month of November, we have a new book. It's called Dreams Need Feet to Walk On, and it's written by Marion Haley Moss. Marion Haley Moss. Be sure and check out her stuff, and I'm sure you'll like her book. A collection of stories, took some memoirs and compressed them into words and made glimpses of my life, little sparks of light. Anyway, she was an actress, spiritual lady, and hopefully we can have her in our studio next month. For those of you who are interested in donating, making a donation to charity, if you enjoyed today's show, the proceeds for today's show are being donated to feedamerica.org. Feedamerica.org. It is difficult times right now financially for many people. As you know, inflation is through the roof. And so for that reason, we recommend, going and getting help if you need it. We don't think that there's nothing wrong with asking for help. So we are raising money through feedamerica.org if you would like to contribute to that fundraiser. Cheers, everyone. L'chaim, l'chaim. So getting back to Virginia Giuffre, You have Republicans saying that, well, Virginia said nothing happened. Nothing happened between her and Donald Trump. And here we have an email saying he was with her all day long. So we are intelligent people. Why would Virginia Giuffre, who was then 16, 17 years old, be spending all day with somebody like Donald Trump? I presume giving him a massage, a 1-hour massage, right? All day means he wanted more than a 1-hour massage. He wanted to really get as much as he could from the Virginia experience, right? He was with her all day. So what's the most likely answer? The most likely answer is that Virginia Giuffre lied about her relationship with Donald Trump because she feared for her life, because had she not lied, they would have taken her out, which is precisely why Katie Johnson, who also accused Trump of sexual abuse when she was with Epstein, has gone missing and some presume dead. She dropped her case and went missing. So, because I'm in touch with reality and I understand that victims lie all the time in order to protect themselves and their families when threatened, that it's quite common to lie, that something like 90% have lied at one point or another to authorities or family members in order to protect the perpetrator. It gets to be complicated in human trafficking because human trafficking, the eventual goal is to make the victim a co-conspirator. And this is done by perpetrators to get them to sign certain documents, for example, to sign their life away, to help them go and find other victims, right? To use them as bait to go and find other victims. And then they themselves become part of the human trafficking story. You are a perpetrator also because you lured people, mind control, seduction, money, using mentally ill kids, often foster kids, kids that were sexually abused in childhood by family members, often parents, and so they're forced out onto the streets, and then they've got to come up with a way to survive because it's not safe to go home, and the foster care system is not necessarily going to be safe either. So many children feel that being on the streets is their safest option, where they will take odd jobs because in some cases they're in hiding and they can't let anybody know where they're at. So they can't drop their Social Security card because if they have a Social Security, it could cause the authorities to say, hey, this kid went missing, and then return them back to their parents where they could be further abused. So it gets to be complicated. So then those kids wind up with somebody like Epstein, and then they start covering for him, and then they become part of a crime syndication, right? They're part of a crime thing. Well, you're in on it too. You participated, right? And that's what happened to Virginia Giuffre. And this is not the first time she's retracted or claimed that someone did not abuse her, or that somebody abused, or she accused someone of abusing them and then retracted, like in the case of Dershowitz, Alan Dershowitz, who most certainly molested her. Why did she retract it? Because he was threatening to go after her legally, and she couldn't financially afford to defend herself against somebody like Dershowitz. So she retracted it and said, oh, it must have been somebody else. Do you think the people in Martha's Vineyard who want nothing to do with him because he's become a pariah at Martha's Vineyard, do you think the people that are associated with Alan Dershowitz that know that he legally threatened Virginia Giuffre, do you think that they believe when she retracted it's because it really didn't happen and she was confused? Excuse me. No, they know that she was threatened, that she was a vulnerable adult. She was always going to be a vulnerable adult because of what had happened to her, that she was a target, that other victims throughout history have been beaten into silence, and that Alan Dershowitz was threatening her legally. So if it quacks like a duck, if it sounds like a duck, if it quacks like a duck. So what is the most logical explanation for the videos? For the emails? The most logical explanation for the emails is that Donald Trump sexually abused Virginia Giuffre, and because he had protection from various different mafia that were using him as cover and leverage for various different laundering operations, that because she feared for her safety, she was pressured to make a statement, to make a false statement in order not to be harmed. That's the most likely explanation. And that is why the GOP are using her testimony against her and saying, well, she said it didn't happen. When it's gotten to the point where a terrified 17-year-old girl who's just gotten out of a situation like that and is being questioned by the FBI, and the FBI protected him. So you go back to the email, and the email says, I wonder why the dog hasn't barked. I'm 75% there. Somebody's protecting him. You don't win a US election like the presidency of the United States with this in your past unless people in positions of power are protecting you. It just takes one reporter, right? So we have to ask ourselves, if this was in Trump's past, if his past was this bad, who was protecting him that he was able, excuse me, to make it all the way into the United States? Sorry, there's some hair on the Shure mic, and it sometimes causes me to have a reaction. I apologize. I need to clean the mic. Discuss, discuss, discuss. How close are we to impeachment? Can Trump come back from this? Well, we look at Giuffre's own history, that she has to go with survivor's guilt and being a co-conspirator, and the fact that they were luring her into signing documents and engaging in criminal acts so that you're going to prison with us, right? This is how the game is played of human trafficking. You get them to be co-conspirators so they can never leave. You make them drug addicts and co-conspirators. This is how you keep somebody in the ring after they've stopped being used for as a child predator by child predators, right? So that's what they did to her. They got her legally bound up into it. Well, you're going to prison too. You lured them. Well, you're going to prison. You signed that document. Well, you're going to prison because of this. You better shut your mouth, pretty girl, right? So that's what happened. This is not the first time that she lied, right? To cover up or to protect a guy in power. Like in the case of Alan Dershowitz, you can't tell me that she forgot who the guy was when she was sexually abused by Dershowitz more than one, and he's writing articles about how it's completely okay to have sex with a 15-year-old. And she says, I was 15 years old and I was forced to perform sex more than once for Alan Dershowitz. So it's like, come on, man. How stupid are we? Then he threatens her, I'm coming after you with big guns, this big, powerful, multi-million-dollar mafia attorney, which is basically what he is. And then she says, oh, I must have been mistaken. Yeah, it must have been somebody else. Do you think people are stupid? She couldn't afford the lawsuit. Because it's another thing that predators do. They put you in a situation where you have no financial recourse. And that's why Katie Johnson is missing. We don't even know if she's alive. There's a real possibility that one of the mob connections, the multiple mob connections that Trump's associated with, took her out. All right, we're going to go ahead. We're going to do the empath prayer. Then we're going to give you a collective reading for the week. Again, if you have not had a chance to like, share, and subscribe, it would bring me tremendous joy. I'll just change this lighting here. Oops. I'm an amateur. I have no idea. This is the amateur channel. It doesn't look that great. I don't know what I'm doing. If there's anybody who's tech savvy in the Portland area that can come and fix this, I would be appreciative. But no, so I'll do my best today. I'll do my best. I think we're okay here. I'm just getting my second camera. And our charity this week is feedamerica.org. So if the reading is entertaining, if I'm entertaining, please think about donating to our charity, feedamerica.org. And I think it should be attached, Debbie. I think it should be attached below. If it isn't, but it should be attached. All right, let's do the empath prayer. And if those of you who would like to receive a healing at this time, we can include you or those you love in us. Oh, hi, Mark. Mark Rhodes is here. Always good to see him. Amazing person. Good heart. Jolene is here. Welcome. We also have Renee in the house. Deborah Murphy. Pat is in the house. The amazing Deborah Brady, future shaper, great creative director, and great for grooming your talent. Lisa Turner in the house. And Ask Backwards is here, as well as is Illuminated Leo Light. Nisi T, thank you for your memberships. Deborah Murphy, John Zawacki. We've already said hi to Lisa Turner and Deborah Murphy, Renee Armand, Sally Joe, Rockin' Pony Lady. Of course, Joel Tilson, our floor director here. Debbie Brady, like I said, creative director and consultant. She's given me great advice for improving this channel. And of course, she also helps us run the fan pages for the Oracle of Whimsy over at Facebook. And we pick one person a month to get a free reading. If you do decide to join us over there, it's a lot of fun sharing recipes and our love of tarot. All right, let's go ahead. Let's bring in the empath prayer. I think I got rid of all of the hairs. Looks clean, doesn't it? Right? I got it all. Okay, good. I love my kitty, but sometimes she sheds. Okay. Oh, yeah, I can breathe better. Yeah, it's gone. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decision for ourselves, our friends, our family, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively, we say Amen. And for those of you today who are requesting a healing, we come together at this time and we pray. We pray that you and those you love receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and in spirit. And together again, collectively, we say Amen, Amen, Amen. May all souls be healed. May all souls be healed. And again, for those people who don't know, our charity this week is Feeding America. Usually for the holidays, we try to keep Feeding America being our main charity so that people can get their food that they need. We have kept this charity running for a little over a year, and so far, our community has raised over $9,000 for Feeding America together. So you can give yourself a round of applause and special gratitude to Anonymous, who has donated $22 already to Feeding America. Much appreciation for that. All right, let's go ahead and let's do it. Let's take a look at what is going on. You know, I have no idea what the week is looking like. Something tells me it's going to get worse for Donald Trump. You know, I'm thinking. Wonder if this makes it bigger. Nope. Does this make it bigger? Nope. I'm always looking for a way. Yeah, I'm always looking for like the best way to to show the cards, but yeah. I love the tarot. Don't y'all love the tarot? All right. What do we need to know in order to be happy this week? Because there is a lot of crazy going on. Oh my goodness. Oh my freaking goodness. This is one of those days where you say, to heck with it. It's a red meat day, right? Or it's a Kentucky Fried Chicken day. Whatever your naughty is, or maybe it's a burrito day. What is your favorite snack? You're going to go out there and you're going to treat yourself because you're just feeling so darn good about where the country is headed. Do you think that this fantasy that the American people have had about this malignant narcissist could be coming to an end? What are we going to tell our grandkids that can explain to them the insanity, what that was the Trump era, and how we participated or did not participate? Or will they be grooving on their great auntie's videos on YouTube? The Oracle of Whimsy, right? So let me see here. And where are my moderators? How many moderators do I have right now? So when you have this kind of Ellie can be blocked, right? Just yeah. So do I have anybody here want to be a moderator? Because it looks like my moderators are. I might not have enough moderators here. Ellie is the person I just blocked. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, just yeah, it's just sometimes people come on here and it's the bean soup recipe phenomenon where people are just looking for people to hurt because they're in pain, and so they go to random channels looking to hurt people. It's kind of a pathetic life when you think about it. I guess we've all done that, just been bitchy and said things we should. Anybody besides me regret any? Okay. All right, let's take a look. So I'm just making sure I have everything okay here. Okay, whoops. Dang it. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Comments, there we go. All right. All right, where we are at right now, the Fool comes in. So I am on my way for a trip. Have a great vacation. Those of you who are going on vacation, those of you who are off to enjoy your Thanksgiving and everything else, may it be beautiful. We're seeing a lot of travel energy coming in for the next week or two. We've got that beautiful travel card coming in. That karma card is that we are bound to travel, right? So it's a movement card, a lot of change. This is not a time of stability and ho-hum and boredom. This is a time when we're seeing a lot of activity and change. Chariot can be about physical travel, but it can also be just about rapid changes. Fool takes a leap of faith could be that this is a time in your life where you're being encouraged to take more risk in life. Get out, travel, take more risk in life. That could be what this is about for you. And something that I was meditating on and I really wanted to share with you all in last night's meditation was they talked about the fact that your life will not change if you keep doing everything the same over and over and over again. Say you always go to the same neighborhoods and you shop at the same stores and you eat the same food. So, um, yeah, so, the takeaway here, is what are we talking about? I'm sorry, I started reading the, comments. Oh, so the takeaway here is to take risk, to try things a little bit different. If you say, "Well, I've never been to that neighborhood. Oh, I've heard of that neighborhood, but I don't go there." Go and try a restaurant that has good reviews you've never tried, or walk in a park you've never walked in before, or go but this idea of it's very important so that our world doesn't become smaller and smaller, that we start stepping out a little bit. The fool takes a leap of faith and travels, goes out. So this is the energy of not staying in your home, not hiding away. Where we're at right now is a gift of love. So there's also this beautiful energy of the gift of love coming in as well. Ace of Cups it can be spiritual love or an anointing or blessing from the heavens. So overall, I would say this is a pretty good week for many of us when we're out of our comfort zones, when we're taking risk, we're trying new things, I always do the same walk. I live in Portland, Oregon. I always walk Whole Foods, Powell's, then I walk around that area, and maybe I pick up something at Whole Foods, and then I take the tram home. Or I take the tram to PDX, or no, to the Portland PSU, Portland State. I pick up some mail from the mailbox. So what happens? It's like your dog, taking your dog for a walk. You're always going the same route. You're never meeting anyone different. You're never going to meet anyone different. Nothing's going to change in your life because you will always stay within the same 2-mile radius. And so what I was meditating on is to tell the audience, is to spiritually tell the audience that it's very important for you to break out of that habit for your own spiritual development, to break out of this habit of being in a small world. Transformation is upon you. The death is the transformation. So you have love and good blessings, and then you have the fool, then you have death, which is a major transformation, taking leaps of faith, traveling, getting out and seeing the world a lot. What is above you is, again, waiting for your ship to come in, going beyond the horizon. I can't believe I'm taking myself to Colombia. Yeah, Colombia. I got a really good deal. Round trip ticket plus hotel is $1,200 for 10 days, 12 days, something like, I don't know. I'm going to 2 locations, but yeah, I got an Expedia deal package, and then I also have their One card, which gives you points, and that I have 350 points left. So that tells me I have for the next trip, right? So that's how I'm able to part of how I'm able to cover and I live very frugally. I have a YouTube channel called Broke Aristocrats where I show people how to spend no money, and that money I save so I can travel. I could be a lot stricter, to be honest with you. But 3 of Wands is an indication that you could be traveling in your future. It's looking beyond the horizon. Yeah. And, um oh, my cough, if I don't clear my throat, I have a little bit of I have a mild what's considered a mild, allergy to my cat, and I don't think it's healthy to take the, Allegra. Sometimes I do. Like, you see, it goes away if there was some hair, if I get a hair in my throat, but, if I smoke, sometimes I smoke. I've been struggling with smoking. I went, like, 7 years not smoking, then I started smoking again, so that can also make me cough. It depends. Yeah, so that's what's going on. It's considered a mild my allergy to my cat's considered mild. Yeah. It usually goes away after I start talking. I also will cough a lot after I eat, like, bread. Anybody else get a carbohydrate cough? Carbohydrates can cause a cough. Oh, right. Yeah. So, folks, I'm thinking that the cards are really positive. You know, we have this sun energy coming out of, so the sun on your back as you go forward. God is with you, and the sun is on your back. And what you're heading is minimalism. A lot of us are being told to focus on minimalism, that now is a good time for us to let everything go. Go out and see the world. Eight of Cups is to let everything go. This is a very intense world right now, and I alternate between wanting to leave the United States and then, go somewhere totally different, and then going and finding a shack somewhere in the middle of nowhere, right, in Oregon. I'm gonna go find a shack in the middle of nowhere in Oregon, and then you look and you find out the shack in the middle of nowhere in Oregon is $400,000, and then you think, "Well, that plan's gonna get nixed," right? Yes, I'm an SGI member. How long? Since 1992, 93, something about there. I got my Gehansen in, like, 94. Yeah. Alright, so be willing to go out and see the world. Be willing to go out and see the world. That is the message from Spirit. Put the past behind you. The Queen of Swords comes in 7th position to remind us of stoicism. There are jerks in this world. There are good people in this world. There are bad people in this world. Put the past behind you and move forward. Your opposition at this time is inverted Six of Pentacles, a feeling of lack of empathy or social or moral justice in the world. An inverted Six of Pentacles is your opposition. Inverted Six of Pentacles. So, Six of Pentacles is about moral justice and about the person who is worthy receiving that which is that which they deserve. Yeah. The problem with tiny houses is you have to buy the lot, or you're renting a lot for $1,200 a month, living in a horrible uh tiny house where you feel trapped, which is way too small, and you're still having to give $1,200 to the person whose land you're renting. So I think that a lot of the time, manufactured home can be another scam. It's not as nice as the studio apartment you left. You were paying the same for the same amount for the studio apartment, and you had better benefits. So owning a manufactured home is to own nothing if you don't have the land. That's how I feel about it. But an inverted Six of Pentacles is a denial of justice, and that has me concerned that that stands in the house of opposition. And then the final outcome is you must know that there are good people fighting on your behalf. The whole world is not Donald Trump. The whole world is not sycophants and bad people propping up bad people. Most human beings are good. Most human beings are good. 6 beautiful years lay ahead. So the 6 of swords, swords are years traditionally, pentacles are week, wands are months. Many years, smooth waters lay ahead for you. So the clarification is rest assured that everything will be okay in the future as the 6 of swords remains as your outcome. Or as your hope and fear. Oh, sorry. As your hopes and fears, if it was your outcome. It's not your outcome. Damn. I was hoping it was the outcome. And the final outcome is yes, financial stability and abundance. Use your talents and your creativity. Your greatest challenge at this time is discipline. If you want to be rich, if you want to be financial or just financially stable, you must be consistent. Queen of Swords puts the past behind her. She is not distracted. She just goes forward. That's what you have to take away from the Queen of Swords. She has cut cords with the past. Of all of the queens, the Queen of Swords is the most the Queen of Swords is the most stoic. When she is finished with you, she is finished with you. Oh, thank you, Kelly Knoll. That's very kind of you. Thank you for that donation. So, yeah, so if you get this kind of a juxtaposition where the Queen of Swords is standing in your immediate environment, it's telling you to cut cords with the past. Cut cords with the fantasies you had from people of the past. They don't think of it the same way you do. They don't think of the relationship the same way you do. They will never be the dream you want them to be. Okay, fine. She moves on. Your opposition is in grief. I'm telling you, the wealthy aristocrats that propped up all this corruption, it's going to collapse. Just continue on the straight and narrow. We can never again abdicate responsibility for our country as voters. We must watch diligently everything that's going on in DC to ensure that we're not taken advantage of. The hope and fear, the King of Wands, it could be an aggressive move against or away from our best interest. The final outcome for us is the Ace of Pentacles, which would be wealth. And the Emperor. So I think the country is going to be okay. I think that there is a major spiritual reckoning happening in the United States right now where we are called to look under the hood and look at our own behavior and hold ourselves accountable. Yeah. But the future is very bright. Empress is creative abundance, and it would indicate that creative abundance is in your future and the future of the country, that we're headed towards a time which is unbelievably productive. And then Ace of Pentacles would be wealth. I think America is going to come out of Donald Trump, and I think that it's going to come into something really, really positive. Yeah, so that's what I see, and I think that it's a very optimistic. The sun is on your back. The takeaway message from your reading is let things go that do not serve you. Let relationships go that do not serve you. Do not procrastinate. You can still be financially stable and live a good life, but you must be disciplined. Be disciplined in all aspects of your life. You are not a child or a victim. You are an empowered adult. This is an empowered person who leaves everything behind that doesn't suit them. The Eight of Cups, the Queen of Swords. I'm done with that which does not serve me. And Three of Wands, waiting for your ship to come in, but do not procrastinate. Empress, you're unbelievably creative. This is an unbelievably creative group of people, but you must be disciplined. Learn from the discipline of the Queen of Swords. She is not self-pitying. She is organized. She is motivated, and she moves forward. That is your reading. Well, that was very interesting. That was very interesting indeed. The lessons, so those are the lessons that we all have to be thinking about this week as we go boldly into the future. What are you thinking? Do you think that Donald Trump can survive this? Let's discuss. Let's take a poll right now. Can Donald Trump come back from this? I'm thinking as close as 0 as 0 gets, but is he really Teflon? Or do you think, was he Teflon, or did he just have people in positions of power protecting him? And the question we have to ask ourselves is, who were those people? Who were those people? Who were the people in the FBI that were protecting him? Marjorie Taylor Greene is gone, right? What does that tell you about the future of MAGA? Will she be replaced? Who's going to replace at this point? Now Congress is back in session. They're having to make up for missing days. They're having to come in on Saturdays. What do you think the feeling is in Congress? A lot of people are protecting him. The mob is protecting him. The FBI took money. Right? The FBI has done a lot. If you commit the crimes that Donald Trump committed and you're running for presidency and the dog still hasn't barked, nobody has talked about this, then you have to ask yourself, who protected him? Who protected Donald Trump that kept him covered and protected? Who was guarding the door? That's the question I always tell people to ask themselves. Who was guarding the door when he was committing those crimes? And the answer is very obvious. The feds were guarding the door. The feds were making a deal. The state of Florida was making a deal. People in positions of power in Florida, people in positions of power with the FBI. And so if they already had files on Trump going back to 2004, 2005, and Giuffre is getting molested when? In 2011? When was this? The other takeaway is that Epstein didn't stop just because he was arrested. He just went and was molesting people. He was more active in New York, maybe. Right? You don't run a major campaign like a presidency and have something like this covered up unless people with a lot of power are actively covering it up. Who had the power to control the media, to keep the story of people like Katie Johnson from the press? Why did the press drop the ball? Who owns the press? And why did they drop the ball? The sweetheart deal, where perpetrators who had molested these kids and gone to these orgies signed and made deals with prosecutors, federal prosecutors, to basically be in what, some type of witness protection so that they couldn't be prosecuted. Why weren't these all, if this guy is the worst sex offender in US history, why were none of his co-conspirators other than Ghislaine Maxwell prosecuted? Because the feds were protecting them. Let's give a warm welcome to our very own Martha Barcoats. Hello, Martha. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for your membership. Martha Barcoats, Martha Barcoats. We welcome you to the Oracle of Whimsy, another happy customer. Thank you, Martha. Actually, we much appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Hi, Sally Joel. All right. So Joel says Venezuela is being threatened because of Russian missile installations put in Venezuela territory that could reach America. Well, it goes back to the remote. I don't know if you all remember from 5, 6 years ago when we followed Putin's energy. He was focused on South America and it was this idea that Russia and China were going to lasso us in, right? They were going to lasso us in. And because they were going to lasso us in, we were not going to be able to protect ourselves. So let's go ahead and take a look at a map of the United States and what we mean when we talk about the fact that Putin wants to lasso us in. Here is the United States. God bless America. Yes. So Greenland is over here, right? America wants to take Greenland. So what we want security for Greenland because Russia is right over here, right? So Russia is over here. And what's Russia doing? They're cutting through the strait in order to get a new trade route. And that means we need NATO presence in Greenland. So that's what is going on with Greenland. Because from Russia's perspective, you can see here the Siberian Sea, they're cutting through those icebergs, they're coming in, and then that becomes a military lasso around that upper area between Alaska going in, the Laptev Sea, the Siberian Sea, and then you have Greenland over here. So you have a lasso where literally our trade could be cut off, or we could be having trade problems in that area. And then you bring it down, and then down here in the south, we have Cuba, we have Nicaragua and Venezuela. So if we have activity over here, we've got theoretically another area where we're being blocked in. So we've got blocks happening here in Venezuela and Cuba, etc. This is a U.S. territory. Puerto Rico theoretically would be vulnerable to invasion or attack. Florida is vulnerable to Russian mafia and foreign influence because you can see it would be coming in from Cuba, this Russian mob, this Russian influence, and its relationship with Florida. So that's part of the lasso. So you have the lasso coming up all the way over here with this Northwest Passage, bypassing it, where he's bringing in these ice cutters for this new trade route. But then he also is interested in a trade route down here. And then on the other side, the Pacific, what do you have? You have South Korea and you have China. So they're interested in lassoing us over on the western side. Here's the lasso, right? So what do we have to protect ourselves from that? We're putting U.S. troops. We're funding Australia, Indonesia, etc. We're concerned about these islands, and that was part of why we had the war with Vietnam, but specifically the Philippines, right? Hawaii and the Philippines would be protecting from that lasso effect where we start to feel cornered as U.S. citizens, right? We're going to start feeling cornered both by China and by the movements of Russia in the north and in South America. You can see all this lassoing starting to happen. And then that's at the point at which the United States starts to feel cornered. Any questions about that? Scary, isn't it? What happens when the lasso is finally complete? China here and Russia here. You can squeeze that lasso, right? And at that point, it's going to be hard for us to defend and protect those territories that we've been defending and protecting, which are what? Anybody got any guesses? Guam? Taiwan? Yep. Very good. Will America have another 60 cubic? Yeah. Well, that Joel is very, very smart. So he knows where this is headed. Let's take a look. We're having a storm. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, I just got knocked out. There's been some storms happening. Okay, that's good. Regarding trade, you can see that West Coast card coming in, 2 of wands facing the west. That's the Pacific Northwest, how I think about it, but it's just a westerly direction. Our western trade route appears to be a problem. That's China and also Russia both. So our biggest vulnerability right now is the West Coast, even more than South America. So that would be concerns about Taiwan. Global trade and partnership, 2 of wands. He faces west. 3 of wands, global trade. He faces east. There's major changes with our China trade. And we're going to be ending relationships with former partners. We're going to be betrayed by our partners. It's going to be hard for us to protect Taiwan. So Trump is talking about bringing 250,000 Chinese students to the United States, right? So they would be getting our education system, which is fine. She went to school in Iowa, right? But this is not looking good. There's a death of our trade. It involves possibly a westerly direction, transformation of or hostilities or the end of our relationship with the high priestess has me concerned. That's usually an Israel card. So it could be growing tensions with Israel. That would be how I would, Netanyahu is not good for nobody can get along with Netanyahu. That's kind of how I see it. But hopes and fears, the end of some leadership, some war king. They want the end of some war king, and then the final outcome is betrayed by somebody that we had an unholy alliance with. I wonder if that's China. Let me do. We'll be left out in the cold. This is looking really bad. These trade things that are happening with Trump are very bad. I mean, this is bad. These cards are horrible. I'm just trying. Why would anyone like Donald Trump? That's what I'm trying to figure out, because the cards for nothing he's doing is good for us. President Obama has been asking us to get involved in running our country. I think that is why he doesn't get involved as we would like him to. He wants us to decide and do. Well, he's also one person. He's not our daddy. He can't come rescue us and screw in the light bulb. We have to do it ourselves. He's just Farmer John, right? Or Farmer Barack, gone back to the farm, right? And that's the way it's supposed to be. building his legacy. Yeah, I think you're right. Is it safe for snowbirds to go to Mexico and Baja this winter? I don't see why not. Magician. There's opposition, war, fighting, power of the individual, final outcome, conflict all around. The problems with immigration of Americans retiring to Mexico will be resolved. That it's more bluff than anything else, because the truth of the matter is there's a huge economic dependency on healthy migration of Americans and travel to Mexico. So it's resolved economically. Also, you have rejoicing, which leads me to think that any tariffs or challenges or conflicts we're having right now will be resolved. I know that international patent laws and trade laws are being violated, and I know that people are being taken to court, that the US could be sued over this. But if that's the case, I would say Mexico is going to be fine. Great to see a Three of Cups moving into the House of Opposition. In plain words, go have a nice time in Mexico. Also, Seven of Pentacles would be that it's profitable. That Mexico will be profitable. The Monroe Doctrine used to attack Venezuela. Economic concerns over the issue of justice. Archangel Michael comes, and the final outcome is patience. It is likely that all-out war could possibly be avoided through diplomatic means. Yeah. That's right, Nancy. I agree. I don't know, Terry, because I don't know if Canada doesn't want additional support. And even Denmark, other countries have been concerned about the activities of Russia in that area and whether or not it is an existential crisis for North America. JD becomes for he will have similar story to C. Kirk. Let's take a look at the presidency of JD Vance. The Constitution holds that if the president cannot fulfill his duties, the vice president will come in. That doesn't mean we like JD Vance. It's just that that's how the Constitution works. And so for that reason, the most likely outcome will be that Trump will leave and the presidency will be completed by JD Vance. He still has to, I believe, run in the primary if he wants to run for president. I think there's still going to be a primary, if I'm not mistaken. I think the Republicans will still primary J.D. Vance. Failure. Inverted Ace of Swords. Failure. It did not, people, it was a strategic move to put him there. Maybe they felt he would be economically he would protect the economic interest of people like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, though Peter Thiel is not totally sold on JD Vance. We shouldn't assume that, because Elon has said that he's thinking about funding JD Vance in 2028. So even Elon Musk is on the fence with this guy. But an inverted Ace of Swords would indicate that JD Vance is a failure. He has marital problems. He has a lot of stuff going on in his personal life, which makes there's too much on his plate. and his opposition is grieving. His hopes and fears, Three of Cups. And the final outcome is takes the weapons of war away from the enemies. You know, it's a weird feeling when you go into this. It's almost like, I know you don't like me. I know nobody likes me, but I'm the president and I'm going to do what the hell I think is right. You know, to take the weapons of war away from one's enemies, to be concerned about the celebrations, or, you know, to perceive of the Three of Cups in the as the house of opposition. He will overcome his failures, you know, this desire to overcome his failures. He has people extremely angry to him, even accusing him of being in on whatever. People who are turning on Donald Trump will turn on JD Vance. And his hopes and fears is to win constituents, the Six of Cups, trying to win his constituency, trying to Six of Cups to woo, and the final outcome for him, the sun's coming up. Yes, I think he's going to be the president, and I think that he's going to have an upward battle. I don't think people trust him. I don't think that he's liked, and I think that he will come in as the great failure, Ace of Swords. I think people are going to be very upset, and he's going to have to take charge and do best job he can, because he's got people in position, a lot of people mad at him. You don't want the Knight of Swords in your house of opposition. The eighth house is the house of the other in a traditional Celtic cross. If you're just doing four cards, then that corresponds to the seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th of a Celtic cross. In a Celtic cross, your immediate environment over the coming weeks, it would be the seventh house. What's going on with the person you have issue with, or the opposition, the hope and the fear, and then the final outcome. So where he is at going forward is a great failure, Ace of Swords. This guy is not liked. And then Magician, he will try to take control over a situation that he has no control over. His opposition, sad, depressed, angry, and they're attacking him. So we are in this. We didn't want you to be our president. Either number one, they hate him because they think he's associated with Trump, so he's guilty by default, or they liked Donald Trump and that you a coup, you took our president, right? So nobody likes JD Vance, because the hardline MAGA conspiracy people are going to accuse him of, you engaged in a coup and you were a part of this and you betrayed us and you stole our president. So he has this guy is hated when he assumes office. Hopes and fears, Six of Cups is to give roses and flowers and come to Papa, right? And Three of Cups, the dancing lady, is a celebration. So this is somebody, when he takes the oath, I don't think a lot of people are happy. However, Five of Swords is this is the guy who may feel that he needs to take control of a situation where he is not popular. And then the final outcome of the sun comes out for JD Vance. And Magician, I think towards the end of his service, there will be some respect for him, that he was able to do better than they had anticipated. For that reason, he'll probably win a primary if they primary the Republicans after Trump's after this. In 2028, there'll probably be I guess it'll be 2027. There'll probably be a GOP primary. Yeah, exactly. There's going to have to be some kind of something going on, because the Pacific did not look stable from those cards. What are you guys thinking? Do you think that Putin has really created some problems? Power, the spiritual power. The church, the belief that he was the divine protector, that he was going to come in, he was going to protect, and he was going to be the prophesied deliverer of the Russian church. His contract is over, inverted Three of Pentacles. He had like messianic fantasies, didn't he? The swindler who's out of money. It could be aggressive military action like what happened with the fall of Tsar Nicholas. Was it Tsar Nicholas II? Because Knight of Swords is an aggressive, violent military action against him, and Three of Pentacles. And also the swindler falls, the Two of Pentacles inverted. I would not be surprised if he was assassinated by a coup engineered by his own military. And Sword of Michael is over him. That's really bad. If you're doing bad things. So, most likely outcome for Putin, excuse me, at this rate, he will be removed by his generals, possibly in a coup. That's the concern. Yeah. Concern is about China more than anything else. Excuse me. Yeah, let's take a look at Russia. The lasso theory. Well, let's look. The future of Russia. There's Russia. Actually, that's Ukraine more than anything else. Ooh, look at that psychopath. Look at that. An inverted King of Swords is a psychopath. That's actually Ukraine's card. The lady who holds the sunflower. I always use that. There's death over Ukraine. There's a psychopath. Look at that. An inverted King of Swords. For those people learning the cards, that's an inverted King of Swords is a psychopath. He ends because he's a psychopath. Ukraine defending itself. Its opposition granted. Hopes and fears. New leadership in Russia. International course. There's a new leader in Russia. Not necessarily a fan of Ukraine, but somebody that's going to end the war. I don't like seeing this cage over Ukraine. Death and transformation, wish granted over Russia. Another man is over Putin. Justice will come. Interesting. That would tell me that Putin's being replaced. The King of Wands is all about territory and space. He wants territory and he wants space. My way or the highway. Yeah. I would imagine so. Yes. Oh, really? There was a gigantic protest. Let's take a look at the protest against Trump. Good stars over the protest. Inverted Six of Pentacles. The protest probably because of the SNAP benefits and everything else. Inverted Six of Pentacles again coming in as the opposition. A lack of justice and mercy. Six of Pentacles is justice and mercy. He's trying to woo the people, but the problem with Trump is that the people no longer love him. Final outcome is the Queen of Cups who dreams and rubs her lamp. You know what this makes me think? Ooh, they're gone. He lost his constituents. Happens very quickly. Hopes and fears. Final outcome, the Constitution. He has lost the people. Trump has lost the people. Good. Don't underestimate. Look, we the people have the power. We just have to take it. That's another, because we're a democracy. So we are the people. We are the country. We are the nation. If we truly want our country back, we have to take it back. And that takes work, but we can take it back. 600,000 Chinese students. I have no problem with that. I think it's a great idea. I lived in a house full of Chinese students when I was, because all the medical doctors were from China. It will be impossible for China to attack Taiwan with America's bases nearby. Knight of Pentacles, strategic move. Two of Pentacles, Connery, patience. Final outcome, inverted Ace of Swords. They will not succeed. China will not succeed. Why are they obsessed with Taiwan? They should just let it go. Qatari military base in Idaho. Qatari military base in Idaho. Why is it there? And what is the purpose? Patience. Judgment. King of Cups. And the final outcome, inverted Seven of Cups. It was just considered, well, I'm getting that they trained their military. Are they training their pilots there? It feels to me like they were training their military, that they had an agreement to pay to get U.S. military training. So it wasn't just that the U.S. military base would be there, but that we would be doing joint efforts, training their military, training their flight people. And that is what I'm being told. So they have pilots, and then their pilots will be doing joint operations. It will be a successful, it appears that it's successful. But there's confusion here. Like, there's real confusion about the future of this because you've got like the Moon and Seven of Cups inverted. So it's interesting that both Mamdani and Trump were linked to Qatar. So Qatar was putting money in the left and Qatar was putting money in the right, because it really wasn't about the left or the right from Qatar's perspective. It was about having power in American politics, just like Qatar was spending money on the left in universities. And so was Iran. It wasn't that they were pro-LGBTQ or that they were pro-progressive or left ideas. It was that they had an agenda, which was to have Qatari influence be at universities in the United States. And so here we have Qataris wanting to get U.S. military training for their soldiers, joint exercises, and also to have flight training, to have adequate flight training. And the confusion here in the cards is if Qatar is continuing to fund terrorist organizations like Hamas and to hide terrorists in Doha, then I would imagine that's going to put the United States in a confusing situation. Are we training pilots for a terrorist state? And that is the criticism that people have. So there is confusion over what our function is if they continue to fund these terrorist networks. And so that could be the thing that changes. If they want to be part of the Abraham Accords, which it's probably about the Abraham Accords, that means that they would have to make peace with Israel and the United States. So that could be the holdup in the future. Yes, interesting. Yes. So well, they would be if we would spend more money on primary education. So if we continue to cut funds for primary education, then we will continue to have to import our talent from countries that do invest in primary education. So the solution is not to import people, Mr. President. The purpose is to put money and energy into producing the best primary education possible so that Americans can read, write, and do math and can get into the best universities and have those types of job skills. And as long as we cut primary education, we're going to have this problem. We're going to have high illiteracy rate. We're going to have poor math skills. We're going to have trouble competing on the international scale, on the international scale, and we're going to be forced to bring our talent in from other countries. Will these gigantic peace protests lead to Trump being impeached, taken out of the White House? Now, let's take a look. The future of Trump and the protest. Is he going to have to go back into the little bunker? Peace protest in Trump. They leave him confused. His old shtick is not working anymore. It's not like it used to be with Trump, where he would be able to say things and impress people. But now there's just complete confusion. Seven of Cups and Moon, complete lunacy. So he has lost the narrative, and he doesn't seem to be able to protect his presidency. Two of Cups, a desire. He's trying to woo the people, write checks, give them money, bribe them, send them a $2,000 check. I see him traveling or leaving. He's out of the country again. He could be going back to the Middle East. Knight of Wands. When we stroll into the wild, wild west. When we stroll to the wild, wild middle, West Bank. Southwest Asia, right? The Middle East. Dan Bongino, I don't know who he is. We have to close bases in Europe to protect Asia. Interesting, yeah. Okay, we already did that one. Very possibly, yes. Our healthcare insurance for millions of people be kept affordable? Let's take a look at healthcare. What is going on with healthcare in the United States? We're all going to have to be our own doctors. Fighting, arguing, and karma, and the hope and the fear. And the final outcome is Empress. There will be a new branch of affordable healthcare that's starting to emerge. The Empress. But we have to move away from the for-profit model. And Death of America, Zhang Dan Hapang. Professor Danny Hapang said, we are losing Ukraine war. NATO can't stop, yet they are losing. Headlines are always competing for win-loss headlines. Yeah, I don't think that they could win the war in Ukraine because they have no money and Ukraine is being backed by NATO, even though they're not a NATO country. Will Maduro flee? Maduro flee. Thank you, everyone who's donated to our charity. We're raising funds for feedamerica.org. The money is going for people in need who need Need a little help for the holidays. We're here to help. We've had this charity run a couple times, and we've already raised over $9,000 over the time that we've had the charity. So thank you, everyone. Maduro. There he is. He is a businessman, and his feeling, when you go into the energy of Maduro, is that it's none of your damn business how I run my country. How is it your business at all? Go worry about running your own country. So this is the feeling you get when you go into Maduro. Why do you care? Why are you involved in my country? This is my country. You have no idea who these lunatics are that I'm trying to, I've got things to do. He is in the right. In his mind, he is right. It's his country. He's dealing with wingnuts. He's dealing with crazies, and you're not helping. This is not your business. So from his perspective, asking for help or having allies like Russia is none of your business. King of Pentacles is a little bit selfish. It's his way or the highway. Opposition, the Empress. Hopes and fears, the truth coming out, and the final outcome for Maduro, packing up and leaving. Yes, he will likely flee. We waited too long to get involved. We knew that they were being waltzed, that Russia was waltzing many of these countries for oil, etc. And it got out of control, and now we're in a situation where we have to have a war or something. But he will not surrender, but he will never admit to defeat, and he will never admit that he did anything wrong. But he very likely will be leaving with a packing up and leaving, a 10 of Wands. Yeah. 4 of Cups, he will admit to nothing. Fed up judges ready to arrest people, and 1 prosecutor for defender of Trump. Interesting. Oh, hi, Steve. Good to see you here. Has to take up NATO after Putin is gone. Debbie, we will have to. Okay. Attorneys for Trump getting caught in lies, and judges are fed up. Yeah. All right, you guys, we've been here over an hour, so I think I'm going to call it quits. It's been fun hanging with all of you. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe yet, I'd really appreciate it. But I think I'm going to call it quits because it's been like I'm getting hungry. I want to make my smoothie. I'm going to make my morning smoothie. It's feeling Christmassy. Are you guys getting that good Christmas feel? Are you guys getting that? Yeah, like the lights are they're starting to put the lights up in downtown Portland. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. When do they usually put those up? December 1st? When does your town usually begin to put the Christmas lights up? Before Thanksgiving, right? Before Thanksgiving. So that would be this week, right? Soon, right? Should be soon. Are the Christmas lights already up in your malls, in your neighborhood, or not quite yet? After Thanksgiving. Wow, that's really late. Usually they put it up right before. Really? After Thanksgiving? You don't like the pretty nice lights for Thanksgiving? I mean, it's usually after Halloween, because Thanksgiving and Christmas kind of roll in together. Lindsey Graham is at Mar-a-Lago right now. Well, we all know how this is going to end. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging with me. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, I'm open for readings Monday, Tuesday. I still have some openings. However, I will be off for 2 weeks because I will be in beautiful Colombia eating the delicious empanadas and all the other delicious food. It ought to be fun. I'll take plenty of pictures for you all. And of course, I'll be doing some Broke Aristocrats videos while I'm out there as well. All right. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. What's left of it.